Hello, my name is Benjamin Trainer, and I will be your professor for this particular section of Intro to Forensic Science. This video is for the 16-week version of Intro to Forensic Science. We also offer the 8-week version as well, but I think the 16-week will be a little more favorable for most individuals. I think it'll be a little bit better for everybody involved. But what I've done is I've brought up my Brightspace page. I know my Bright Space page looks different than what yours does, but just want to be able to go through some material and kind of make sure that everybody's on the same page. You can see all the things that you need to see, those types of things, so that again you can be as successful as possible for this particular class. If you haven't used Brightspace yet, it's not quite as intuitive as Canvas was, but it still has a lot of good features, a lot of functions that are very useful for us in terms of what we're going to be doing. So hopefully, kind of as you get into this and start navigating it, you'll realize that it still has a lot of familiarity in terms of some of the things that it does. So when you first go to the class, this is the page that you will see. Personally, for me, I like to go to the content page. Um, and that's just my personal preference in talking with some different individuals. They've said some of the similar types of things. Excuse me. Now, when you look at this, what I've done is I've broken this down. If you look here on the left-hand side, and I think yours will look very similar to this. I've got the course information and syllabus, and then I've got it broken up by each of the different weeks that we have class. All right, so you'll notice that it starts at week one, goes through, sorry, that needs to disappear there a little bit, goes through week 16. All right, so there is all of the information that we need, hopefully, should be there. And so what I've done is I've nested things under each one of these. So for this particular one, the video that I'm making now will also be nested under this. It'll be the introduction video. But the syllabus, class schedule, textbook information, all of those things are there. The thing that I really want to point out is this crime scene in a box. We're going to come back to this, but here under the introductory stuff is where you'll find kind of the summary, the totality of the crime scene in a box activity, which hopefully I think you might find at least a little bit enjoyable. It's not a terribly difficult activity, but it is one that takes multiple weeks for us to be able to accomplish and allow other people to kind of take a look at. So I'm going to go through and look at least a few of these things in a little greater detail. So I'm going to start with the syllabus, just again, so that we can look at a few things and make sure that I have everything kind of covered. So in this view, what you'll notice, and again, I'm not exactly positive what this looks like as compared to what you're going to see, but we've got the name and number of the course, right? In terms of what we're looking at, it is a 4 credit hour course. Um, so if you're coming into this thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be something I can just do kind of on the side," that's not going to work. It does require a fair amount of time. I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't want anybody to have any misgivings, kind of about the requirements or the necessities to be able to be successful. It does take some time. Now that being said, I don't think any of it is terribly difficult, and I'll talk about a few things kinda as we go through this that I think might actually help. So as I said, my name is Benjamin Trainer. I have a master's in forensics that I got from the University of Florida in 2012, and I also have another master's from the University of Findlay that I was able to obtain in 2004. I got my bachelor's from Ohio Northern in 1999. Again, not that that matters to any of you, but just perspective in terms of kind of where I've come from. If you need to be able to get in contact with me, my email is probably the best way. I do teach high school science classes. I'm a full time high school teacher, but I'll check my Marian Tech email. Gosh, I'll bet I check it 10, 12, 15 times a day, just to make sure that I'm trying to stay on top of stuff, whether it's from students or my administrators or whatever. So if you have questions, by all means, make sure you reach out to that email. Send me something if you've got questions. If there's something that you're unsure of, I will do my best to get back to you in a very timely fashion. If that's not good enough, feel free to call this number. It is a Google number that you're welcome to use. You can text it as well, though the texts don't always come through very well. I'm not sure why, but um, I will again if I get any calls or any messages, I'll get back to you just as quick as I can. Leave me a number if you want to text, if you want to call, whatever that might be. I've done that more than a few times with students, and it's worked out pretty well. I don't have a building. I'm not on campus, so my office hours, if you will, Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And I'm available outside of that. If you have something that you're struggling with and you need help, if you're not opposed to doing Zoom, we can Zoom a meeting, or you can call me, or whatever. Either any of those things will work. I'm here to kind of help you. I don't want anybody to be unhappy with what you're uh, basically doing as we go through the course. So if you need something, by all means, please reach out, and I'll do my best to get back to you and try to explain things and help you out as much as I can. So again, a lot of you can go through and look at this at your leisure, but just pointing out a few things: course description, the materials. We have an online textbook that we have available to us. It's not something that we use. I'm not going to refer to any readings or anything like that. You're not required to read a certain number of pages. For me, my big thing is as you look at your quizzes, as you look at your exams, make sure that you really stay on top of the notes that I've posted, and like I said, we'll go through that kind of as we get there. I've got learning objectives for each section that we'll be going through. This kind of gives you an overview of kind of some of the things that we're going to be looking at. This is our tentative schedule. I think we'll be able to hit most of this pretty well. Uh, I think this has most of the stuff that we're going to be doing. I don't know that it has everything. But again, you can kind of take a look and see each of the different weeks. What are the expectations? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to get through? Things like that. I don't think we have a final crime scene sketch. We have a crime scene sketch that you'll be doing, but I don't remember what I call it. So one of these is accurate, one of these isn't as accurate. I apologize for that. But again, there's things that I've been tweaking and modifying a lot of this summer to try to make it a little bit easier and more user friendly. You can see some of the different activities of the quizzes, and then different activities that we've got. The science interactive part, that's going to be very important to you. That's going to provide you the information that you need to be able to do our labs. And I'll explain more about that kind of as we go through and take a look at those things. But it's broken down by each of the different weeks. And what hopefully you'll notice is that the weeks in this syllabus will correspond to the weeks that you'll see over here on the left hand side of the page in terms of the expectation. So hopefully, I've done a pretty good job of kind of marrying those two things together, if you will. So down below that, again, evaluation, grading procedures, things like that. Attendance wise, because this is an online asynchronous class, your attendance is based on whether or not you're turning in assignments. So if we've got a couple assignments due for the week and you submit both of them, the following Monday I submit, yes, this student was in class. Okay, so that's the easiest way to do it. If you go a week where you don't do anything, then you'll be marked absent. There are pieces and parts of that that I'm not privy to that are important in terms of, oh gosh, like scholarships and financial aid, things like that, which are very important, but don't affect me so much, but are obviously important to your success. So keep that in mind, and I make note of that because it is mentioned here, the financial aid piece, all of that good stuff. These are approximations. My exams, I know I have a couple of exams that are worth more than 50 points. We have 4 total exams, and I think that's important to understand. So exam 1 is gonna be over our first few sections, exam 2 is the next several, exam 3, so on and so forth. Exam 4 is not a cumulative final exam, sort of. Now, what I mean by that is there are ideas, there are practices, things like that that we're going to be talking about throughout the duration of the course. So we may start with them in Unit One and still be using them by the time we get to exam number 4. So while it's not cumulative per se, I'm not going to be going back and asking about some of the earliest forensic scientists, by the time we get to exam four, some of the ideas that we talk about, so like Locard's principle of exchange principle, that is a topic that will come back up multiple times. So just little things like that to be mindful of. We have 10 quizzes. They are 10 points apiece. Again, not something to get stressed out about. These are opportunities for me to just kind of look to make sure that, yes, you're looking at your notes. Hopefully, you're connecting those dots and the information is making sense so that you can, again, be as successful as possible. That's ultimately what I want for you. You have three articles that you'll read. Mention that here in just a little bit. The lab assignments and lecture assignments, these aren't perfect. I know some of the lab assignments are well more than 20 points. Some of the lecture assignments are less than 15 points, some are more. You get the idea. There's going to be some variation there. Lab practical is 25 points. I'll talk more about that as we get to that point. And then discretionary points, 25. I don't know if that's enough. There are a couple opportunities for some extra credit points here and there, but there aren't very many. I'll be very honest with you. So you want to kind of keep that in mind as we're going through. Try to get as many points as you can on all of our assignments, and you should be pretty good. Okay. Quizzes, lab activities, assignments, anything that you have to submit. This is important. You'll notice it's in bold. Um, I need to change that. It's not obviously Canvas. It is Brightspace now, so I need to fix that. But a PDF, Word, or a Google Doc, any of those will work. If you are trying to submit something and it's not going through, attach it to an email and send it to me so that let's say it's due. Let's say you had an assignment that was due at 11:59 tonight. At 11:57, 11:58, you're trying to do it and it won't go. Attach it to an email and send it to me. Make it by your deadline, and you're good. I have no problems with that. Okay, so that's going to be very important. I will talk about late assignments here in just a minute or so, but I don't take late work as a general rule. So that, again, that's something you want to kind of keep in mind. So we've got some science articles that we'll be reading. Hopefully, you find them at least mildly entertaining or at least interesting. Some of the different ideas, some things that take place kind of from a forensic standpoint that I think will apply to some of the topics that we'll be discussing. So grading scale 100 to 90, 89 to 80, so on and so forth. You can see. So for this class, I will round. So if you end up at an 89.6, congratulations, that's an A. Right, rounding, we're gonna round that to a 90, so you will achieve an A under those circumstances, so on and so forth. Now, if you end up with an 89.4, I'm sorry, that is in fact a B, but uh, hopefully that will make sense, and hopefully nobody's in that particular position. I am not. So you'll notice on here it says click or enter text. I didn't put anything because I don't weight anything per se. Um, your exams are worth more points than other assignments. Labs are worth a fair number of points, things like that. But I don't say your exams are worth 50% of your grade. Labs are 30. Homework assignments, if you will, are worth another 10 or anything like that. So um, I think I've got everything broken up pretty well. As long as you stay on top of your stuff, even if you don't do great on your exams, you'll pass the class. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get an A. I'm not saying you'll get a B, but you will be able to pass the class, which again ends up being, I think, equally as important. All right, so here's the make up and late policy. This is important. All right. So you will notice, and I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but I do want to go over this so that we're all under the same page. All right. Generally, no credit will be given for assignments turned in late, except when extensions are granted ahead of time. So if you know let's say you're going to have teeth removed on a Friday where you have a quiz that's due, and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be taking that quiz. If you don't have the quiz done early, contact me Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Contact me a month before that and say, hey, Professor Trainer, I've got wisdom teeth that I'm having taken out that day. Is it possible that I could take my quiz on Sunday, or could I have it due on Monday, or whatever? Right. Um, I will be more than happy to work with you. What I am less willing to do is Friday at 11:47 when the quiz is due at 11:59. You say, "Hey, I'm not going to get this done today." Well, what have you been doing up to that point in time? Right? 11:47 didn't sneak up on you all of a sudden today, and you not realize you're not going to get the quiz done. So if there's something that is occurring, if there's some type of extenuating circumstance, please let me know. um, the earlier you let me know, the better. the better I am able to work with you and give you that opportunity to make those things up outside of our window. So again, in very rare circumstances, after the fact, extensions may be granted. Anything that is turned late with approval, this is important. So if you just decide, "Oh, I'm not going to do it today, but I'll turn it in tomorrow," that's going to be a zero. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm giving you plenty of opportunity to know when these things are due. Um, and you have hopefully more than enough time to be able to accomplish that. But in the event that something is turned in late, you're going to receive a 10% deduction. If it goes past a certain number of days, after 10 days, you're not going to get any partial credit. All right, so you need to understand that. That's going to be very important to you. Okay. Um, if you're going to miss exams or something, again, you have something that's coming up. Again, you need to make sure you let me know that so that I can make those appropriate accommodations for you. The testing center is available to you. You can use the testing center to make up tests, or if you need any special accommodations, that can be used as well. When you are taking quizzes, when you are taking exams, anything like that, if you're using Respondus, and most of the things that I have set up will tell you you cannot use you can't use your cell phone. You can't use someone else that you hope is smarter than you. You can't use another computer or another computer screen. All of those things are things that I will look for. And I'm not trying to be terrible about this, but I will be very honest with you. I want to know what you know. All right. I don't want to know what you can look up through AI. I don't want to know what you can look up on your phone and then type out on a computer screen. I want to see what your thought process is. Sometimes it'll be great and you're going to do great. Sometimes it won't be as great and you're going to lose some points. That's okay. At the end of the day, it's what you're learning that is most interesting to me. All right. So kind of keep that in mind. Um, I do use Respondus. I do go back and I look at the videos from Respondus. If there is something that I think looks a little out of whack, I'm going to reach out to you. All right. I've been teaching for a long time. I'm old. And so I want you to know, I want you to have the best chance to be successful as possible. But I want it to be your work. All right. I want it to be authentic and genuine to you. So keep that in mind. Even on the reading assignments and things like that, yes, you can Google whatever you want. You can use AI for whatever you want. Um, but I'm not going to give credit for that, right? Because I want your authentic work. That's going to be most important to me. You'll notice here online about 18 hours, 9 hours for a 16-hour week, 18 hours for an eight week course. Obviously, we're looking at this, so expect to spend at least 9 hours per week. Is that accurate? I don't know whether it's accurate or not. I know our videos are about an hour, hour and a half long for our lectures. And then you'll have different things. I know most of our labs are about 3 hours in length. At least that's what Science Interactive says. Now, I will tell you that in talking to a number of our students, many of them say that no, that's more than too much time. You should be able to have it done in a little under 2 hours for most people. But I would say allot yourself enough time to be able to get those done. Okay. The rest of this just goes through some of the different information specific to Marion Tech, right? What else do we need to talk about? Some different links that you might be interested in. The tutoring part, in particular, tutoring and testing. Those are both things that are really helpful to students sometimes. Um, Again, if you need help with something, please, whether you want to go through a tutor because you don't like me or you're afraid that I'm going to think poorly of you, that is not the case. I promise. We all have things that we struggle with. I will tell you that a few years ago, I guess 5 years ago, maybe now, but anyway, I was doing a graduate cell biology course and it was kicking my butt. I mean, up one side, down the other. I was struggling. And so I had to really buckle down and find some resources online that would help me to be able to more effectively study so that I could pass that particular class. But it happens. It's not a big deal. There's nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. So if you need help, like I said, please let someone know. All right. So all of that stuff is in there. Again, is there more that you might need? Maybe I don't know, but hopefully that at least gives you a good starting point. Okay. Class schedule. I've linked it. I put it in my Google Docs. But anyhow, this kind of gives you an idea. The dates are different. This is just a very generic setup that I have. Probably not super useful to you. The best one is going to be the one that's in the syllabus. Textbook information. Again, you can go on there and get the link to it. Couple different resources here that you might find useful if you get worried about taking tests or anything like that. Um, Keep in mind, and I'm going to tell you this now, the first exam is always the worst. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what kind of questions I ask, things like that, and that's okay. um, After the first exam. And the first exam normally is okay for people. Some people do really well, some people do very poorly, but for most people, it's pretty good. It's a upper C, B area for most people. Again, you've got your A's, you've got some people that do a little worse, but for the most part, people do okay. And then as you get into the other exams, you have a better idea of kind of what to expect. What I do want to go over just real quick here, though, is this crime scene in a box. So what I've done is I've taken this whole big project and I've put it in one spot. So if you have a question about something, come back to this. It's very, very useful to you in terms of being able to explain it. All right. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to create a mock crime scene in terms of what happened, who committed the crime, what the suspects were, the whole scenario that's built around this crime, and then you're going to create a crime scene in a box, whether you use a shoebox, a cereal box, I don't know, a paper box, whatever you want to make it out of. I've had all kinds of different things that people have made that is going to then be given to another student, and they're going to try to solve your crime, figure out who did it and why. Now, I'll have all of that information because as we go through and as you look at this, you're going to create all of these different things. So when you go to create your final project, this is a good spot to make sure that you come back to. Okay, so this gives you a lot of the different criteria, right? That you're going to want to have available to you as you go through. Um, this it hopefully it's not overwhelming, but it may feel a little overwhelming. But as we go through it, you'll see that I've broken it up. So you've got a couple weeks to do the first part, a couple weeks to do the second part, so on and so forth. So I've broken it into smaller pieces, and I think historically people have enjoyed this and have done really, really good work on this. So some things to kind of keep in mind. So again, the different things, brainstorm planning forms, scenario planning forms, all of those different things, building the crime scene in a box, and then obviously filling out other information based on other people's work. I've got something a little different that we do, but you still get the idea. So this, like I said, is a collection of the entirety of the project. So you can see the first assignment that you're going to have to do is just generate some ideas and notes that you want to use. So maybe you're like, oh, I don't know, do I want it to be a homicide? Do I want it to be someone that was stabbed, or they were robbed, or they drowned, or like this is just a spot for you to kind of generate what is it that you kind of want to create out of this. So it's pretty basic, right? So you're going to come up with your crime. Where does it take place? When does it take place? And again, you want to provide some details. Um, is it in a big city? Is it in a small town? Is it a small town that we know? I've had people describe a particular crime that occurred in Marion. I'm hoping it was fictitious. It may not have been, but for their crime scene in the box, we assumed that it was, right? The person that committed the crime and the other individuals that might have been present, and then the victims. Information about all of those people ends up being important. So maybe you have a banker that was stabbed, right? And the individual was of a certain age, and all those different things become important. Right. So again, you want to provide details, and these are things that I'll go back and look at. There are spots where you're going to submit the assignments, and I'll go back and look at them, and I'll offer suggestions. Or if it looks like you're on a good track to start, I'll tell you, hey, that looks pretty good so far. Just keep going, right? And so all this information in there, again, things that you can do. And so this is where you create the storyline in terms of what took place. So again, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that investigators, forensic investigators, just simply present the information that they see, right? We're not trying to figure out why it occurred. As a crime scene investigator, your job is simply to state facts, what we know. So there was a large amount of blood. We see a size 10 foot boot print or whatever. Those are factual things, not we think Jim Bob was wearing the boot. We don't care about that. We don't know whether took place unless there's something that we can say forensically identifies or ties Jim Bob to that boot. We don't know. All right. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay. Again, the different pieces of evidence that you're going to have to create. And so this is where you put it all together, right? So everything just gets tied together. And this is where you start looking at information from the other person's work and just kind of goes through it. Okay. But like I said, that's the summary of everything that you're going to be doing. It's not all due at once. Okay. So don't freak out, please. All right, so that's everything in the information and syllabus portion. Now, I want to show you. So with each of these, obviously, they're drop down. Okay, and what I've done, excuse me, like I mentioned, I broke these into different weeks. So our first week, you will notice, right? This is the lecture. So this is the recording of me presenting our information. Um, these are the slides, so that you have the slides that I use to lecture. You have those available to you as well. So if you're like, gosh, Professor Trainer, you have an irritating voice. I cannot stand listening to you. You can just look at the slides. My feelings are not hurt by that. You are welcome to do that. You will miss out on some information doing that, but you'll get the greatest amount of it, even still just looking at the slides, because I use the slides obviously to build exams and things like that. This right here is a student note packet. So if you print this off, if you have access to a printer, you'll find the slides from directly above that. But the slides have some things that have been omitted. So if you and I'll speak for myself. When I'm listening to a PowerPoint or someone lecture, I like being able to fill things in. If they give examples and things like that, those are things that I might make note of. But again, I like those, so I put those in there as well. So these first three things, there's really nothing that's required, right? The notes, if you don't want to listen to notes, don't listen to notes. If you don't want to look at notes, don't look at notes. Again, that's your choice. But again, things that can help you. I have a lab safety lecture, again, just to cover our bases, make sure we're all on the same page. There is an assignment, right? That is gonna deal with inductive and deductive reasoning, but this is just the explanation of that. I think it's a couple slides that you'll look at. It's really pretty simple. A junk science video, again, not very long, but there will be a discussion that will accompany it. And I do have discussions that will be part of this, so you'll see those hopefully pop up on your feed as well. You have an assignment called the Deadly Picnic, where you're answering some questions and you're making a drawing. Again, it's not terribly difficult. The thing that you'll notice, all right, so remember, this is week one, 825 to 829. Now that's Monday through Friday. I also include Saturday and Sunday in that to try to break things up. So hopefully everything doesn't get condensed into just the 5 days. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but it makes it, I think, hopefully a little bit easier for you. But you'll notice on these assignments, so this one, the junk science video is going to end the 27th. Our discussion will go a little bit past that, but not a lot. But notice your deadly picnic due August 30th. Okay. Evidence, you make the call. That's an assignment. That's due the 31st. Okay. So all of that information that gives you a little bit longer to be able to do that, but that's all under that first. We're still in week one. Now, week one, you also have a reading assignment. All right. Reading assignment is due the 28th. You're going to read the article. You're going to answer 10, 15 questions about it. Not difficult. If you want to write it as in a sentence form, write it as a sentence. If you don't. My feelings aren't hurt either way. Um, but it's some good information about some of the topics that we're going to be looking at and really get you to think critically about some of the different activities that we're doing. Okay, so that's a reading assignment. This also in week one, we've got our labs. Now, this is a lot. I know it. I'm sorry. It's science interactive. Now, this is important as well. With these science interactives, these first few, you do not need to have your kit on hand yet. All right. So, one of the things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to order a kit. That information, I didn't have that in the and the introduction stuff. I'll get it added. But anyhow, you'll need to order a kit. It's going to have all the lab stuff, so you'll do physical hands-on labs as well. But there's also interactive stuff online. Each of these are online, and they do not require the kit. So you can get on and start these before our class starts. No problem. Okay, super simple there. And that's the way for all of them. So you're going to do getting started, and what that looks like. It's going to go here. You're going to click on open link, and it's going to take you to the Science Interactive site. You're going to go through, do all of the different things. Excuse me. All of these are set up in the same type of fashion. Okay. So those are our labs for the week one. And then you also have two quizzes due during week one. Don't panic, please. Are they graded? Yes. Will you be fine? 100% fine. Okay. So the first one is the just getting is the first practice quiz, if you will. And what this is some very basic questions that are going to show you kind of what our quizzes will be like in terms of how they're set up. But it also allows you to see what Respondus. If you're unfamiliar with Respondus, it allows you to see kind of how Respondus works in terms of what it does. I think this is a 5 point quiz, and as long as you do it, you're going to get your 5 points. Okay, so again, easy there. The getting to know you quiz, same type of deal. Just answer the questions, provide as much information or as little information as you'd like, um, but provide that information, and again, that's going to be helpful to me, right? So I know kind of who my students are. Since we're not in a traditional classroom setting, it does make it difficult. So that's all week one. Now I will tell you, and I know we're I don't know 20 minutes in, 30 minutes into this video. Um, Weeks one and two are the greatest amount of work. And I apologize for that. I don't mean for that to be the case, but it is a little bit front heavy, and it's just because of the way it's set up. Okay. So that's week one. Week two, you'll notice we've got our notes, the lecture, the PowerPoint presentation, and then the note packet. I have set up each week the exact same. Okay. As long as there's new notes, I've set it up in a similar type of fashion. Okay. So this is your logic puzzle. That's an assignment. You'll do notice it's due September 3rd. And then your initial crime scene sketch. All right. So notice I've got to, let's do September 7th. It started on January 1st. Ignore that part. That's unimportant to you. All right. But again, you can kind of see when each of these things are due, and I'll adjust these obviously accordingly as we go through. Um, but notice, all right, we also have crime scene in a box this week, lab and quiz. Okay, so crime scene in a box. Here's the first thing. All right, crime scene in a box. This is what you're doing for the first one. All right. That's it. That's all there is. That's all you have to do. You don't have to go into crazy amounts of detail. This is just where you're getting things set up, right? Kind of getting an idea, getting your brain thinking about what would I like this to look like kind of as a final project. Okay. Lab for this week. Let me reduce that. There we go. Lab for this week. You've got your lab kit inventory. Okay, so your lab kit hopefully arrives this week. I will send out codes so that you can access those. And then the other part is the documenting crime scene evidence. Okay, like I said, it says to take 3 hours. Um, Most people that I've talked to, many of my students say, yeah, no, it's nowhere near that long. But please allow yourself a little bit extra for the first few. Okay. Also here, week two, this is your first real two quizzes. Okay, so quiz one is going to be over introduction and crime scenes. And then the other one is over lab safety. So you could do this one, the lab safety one, and really all of this stuff is available to you anytime you want to do it. If so, let's say after week one, you're like, I want to do the safety stuff before I forget. Take the safety quiz; it's fine, right? But anyhow, all of these are going to be available to you. So you got two quizzes this week. So that's week two, right? Hopefully you find it's a little less than week one, right? When we get to week three, so we got our notes, we got our PowerPoints, got student notes. We got another video that I recorded to help explain something that I found people get a little bit confused with. So again, something to hopefully help you out, make things a little bit easier. You've got three different activities: the manner of time of death, accumulated degree hours worksheet, and then the necrobiome activity. These are three assignments that are obviously going to be graded. This one needs to be, I have the due date incorrect. I'll get it fixed, but I'll get that taken care of. You have a lab this week, the autopsy lab. Okay, that's the only lab you have, so better. And then you've got quiz number two, right? And so as you go through and look at these, I have these all set up in a similar type of fashion. So that's week three. You go to week four, right? Lecture, lecture. So this is our trace evidence stuff. It's kind of long. And then the note packet, all right? You've got our first exam, right? First exam shows up now, all right? Exams, I think you have, oh goodness, what did I make those? An hour and 10 minutes, maybe something like that. Um, Maybe a little more. I don't remember, but I don't think you'll need all that time. What you'll find for our exams is there are normally about 35 to 40 matching multiple choice true false questions, and then three, four, five extended response questions. So I try to see what you know with the extended response, and then the multiple choice matching true false. It's just kind of recall stuff, but the extended responses are where you're going to connect dots and hopefully make sense of stuff. Week four, you'll also notice you have a lab, fiber and hair lab, and that's it, right? So the notes for this section on trace evidence are kind of long. I've broken them up actually into 2 weeks. So you'll notice weeks four and five have trace evidence. You've got a quiz over trace evidence, you got a reading, you got another crime scene in a box, and then you'll have a lab. I think it's glass and fractography. Yeah, you do. Okay, so again, you kind of see what it looks like. So this is the way I've broken up the entirety of the course. Each week has the things that you're going to be doing for all 16 weeks. Now, week 16 is a little different. Let me move this up out of the way here. Because since week 16 is our last week, once we get to that point, you've got an exam and lab practical. So you'll notice exam and lab practical. All right, both of those, they are standalone activities. You don't need to do one and then the other. You do one and then finish it and do the other. And then I have a feedback form once you get to that particular point as well. Now, because this is all asynchronous, you get to work at your own pace. You do as much or as little a week as you want. If you want to bang out 4 weeks in one week, go for it. I think it'll be there'll be a lot of stuff. But if you have time and have that desire, by all means, please do that. And but don't put things off. If you wait until the last second, you run into some technological issues or something, you're going to be out of luck. I hate to tell you that, um, but it's important that you understand that. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I know at different times there'll be discussions that we'll be doing as well. So again, this is the introductory type of page. This kind of tells you kind of what's going to be coming up, at least immediately. You can see here the different things that are available in each of the different weeks. So you can go through and kind of get an idea of what you're doing or what you aren't doing, right? Upcoming events. I'll put our discussions on here. I haven't listed those yet as well, and I will use the announcements. There's no announcements yet in terms of anything major, but there will be, right? In terms of being able to order your kits and stuff like that. So goodness, it's a lot, but it is very manageable. I've tried to break it up into smaller chunks where I could. Some of the weeks you'll notice you're like, gosh, I have only a couple things that I have to do. And there are a few of those. Enjoy those weeks. Not all of them are like that, but not all of them are as bad as weeks one and two, though, either. All right. So just if you feel overwhelmed initially, just take a deep breath and stay with me. The first 2 weeks, like I said, are the most overwhelming and have the greatest amount of material. But after that, things do slow down. Okay. If you have questions, if you need help, as I said before, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Any of those things would be great. And I will be more than happy to meet with you via Zoom. If we needed to meet in person, we can meet in person. There's any number of things that we can do. All right. I'm here to help you and hopefully make this experience as beneficial and maybe even a little bit fun. I don't know. I love science. I know not everybody's in the same boat, but hopefully you enjoy what we do. I look forward to the semester. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, good luck this semester, and I look forward to meeting all of you.